already know what time it is. It's your boy DJ Richie Skye back with some tea, interviews, recaps, and more. And be sure to check the links in the description of this video for trips, for books, one-on-one sessions, and more. Now let's get into the tea. Was it a scheme that Drew set up to come to us with the BS? Well, according to Ralph, that is exactly what is going on. Oh, yes. You know, just how Drew is doing the interview rounds, so is Ralph. And this time, he's out of the basement. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, indeed. He is out of the basement and he is still stuck on these claims that Drew and her attorney tried to set him up. He basically is accusing her of trying to set him up by forcing him to pay for their home and kicking him out. That's what he says that her attorney and she tried to do to him. All right. They wanted to have him removed from the property, but he thanked the judge for allowing him to remain in the basement, which allows him to continue spending time with their children. Now, this was taken from an interview with Gigi Pink Conversations and posted to the Jasmine brand. So let's discuss. Skye Squad, we are back in the building. And wouldn't you know it, we are back talking about Ralph and Drew and the setup of it all.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
Is it a surprise? I ask you, is it a surprise though? I ask you.
Is it a coincidence? Is it a coincidence? I ask you.
Okay, so the tea on the basement though is Ralph says it's 4,000 square foot. I mean, he is living in the lap of luxury. I mean, he pays for the home. So, I mean, he's going to stay in his very comfortable basement with the movie room that he admits is more than most people's. I mean, this basement is more than most people's homes. I was like, well, tell it to us, Ralph. Give it to us. Tell us all the tea about the basement and whatnot. Because you show, for at least according to the show, you ain't giving up no intel about your finances, according to Drew and her peoples. But that's neither here nor there right now, right? But one of the things that I did seem to pick up in the comments section was it correct that, because someone says here, didn't he buy the house while Drew was out of town and not putting her name on it? Didn't he also sell their other property? Someone else says the same house he went and purchased behind her back. Oh, well, sir, you should be paying for it. But maybe you thought the judge was going to kick Drew out of the house because you paid for it and her name not on the deed. This is all, let me say alleged because I don't remember the details of it. I mean, it's been so much with Drew and Ralph over these past couple of years. I'm like, it's hard to keep up at this point with their ongoing telenovela romance, non-romance, breakup to make up, divorce for 5 years. I mean, it is what it is. What be taking divorces so long? I mean, I'm really kind of curious about that. I mean, outside of division of assets and that sort of thing, like what really be taking divorces so long? Can somebody answer me that? Maybe some attorneys in the building. I mean, because again, my law and order SVU university degree only goes so far. Okay, it only goes so far. So I'm just wondering why. Why is it taking so long? I mean, does it be that the two people involved be trying to punish each other? Because it would seem to me like, if you're ready to divorce, what's the lingering holdups? Like, I mean, I don't get it. Y'all let me know in the chat. I mean, Kenya and Mark's divorce took about 5 years or so too. So, I mean, clearly there's something going on with these divorces these days. Is it a holdup in the courts? Is it the court's fault? Somebody let me know in the chat because it seemed like a long time. But baby Drew is all up and through the news this week. You know, she did the interview with Carlos King. She had some things to say about Britt Eady, basically saying that Britt was better fit for a rags to riches type of show. Shout out to the Bravo Shade Room for this clip because, you know, Britt came into the comments and had some things to say about what Drew has said about her. She says that Britt doesn't want to live in her truth about her husband and her marriage. It's a no for her on the show. She's not a good fit for this circle of girls, right? And she says that Britt has all these things that are allegedly happening with the marriage. Maybe I have been under a rock, but what is going on with the marriage? I mean, has this been something that's been aired on the show? Did I miss something? Do people not like the husband? What is going on? Um, and then what has gone on between Britt and Drew to the point where now Drew is just like totally against her being on the show in the first place? The problem that I have with this is, and I do love Drew, right? I love Drew. I love Drew as an actress. I want to watch whatever she's in. I absolutely love her music. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan. I reviewed the album, um, have my favorite singles. It's on my workout playlist and all that good stuff. I do enjoy her on the Housewives when she's activated and when she's active. But I think that with the narrative that's been um, spoken about with Drew, even this season, from I think it was Portia as when they were promoting the new season during Bravo Fan Fest. I think it was Phaedra. I think it was also Shamia. They've all come out and called Drew a liar and said she was the biggest liar on the show. I mean, that is what they have said about her, not me, the cast. So it's interesting to see Drew label someone else the same thing that she has been labeled as other castmates. And I think it's probably easy for people to believe whatever there is negative about Brit because of the Brit versus Kenya situation. And I understand that people will not let that go. I mean, it's a huge thing, and I get it. I'm just looking at this from an observation lens, and I'm just sort of thinking about the trajectory of Drew on this show in comparison to the trajectory of Brit on this show, and in terms of having a narrative that is spoken about with her not being having an interesting relationship with the truth. It's interesting to hear her speak about somebody else that also she says has an interesting relationship with the truth, right? So and a lot of you guys have also said that you felt like, and I think that you know one of the things that I think that I see a lot in the comments is that you guys feel like Brit would be better suited for love and hip hop, right? And I don't know if it was because of the pow pow threat, which I still find to be quite odd. I mean, I don't get why that happened, but because again, the argument from what we saw on the screen wasn't enough to warrant that level of like, whoa, whoa, where are we going? Um, but she did apologize, or at least attempt to apologize, which some of you guys feel like was for the sake of the show, or maybe she had gotten a stern talking to by the network. I really don't know. All I know is that that's what we saw on the screen. I can only go by what we see on the screen and what these people right here and what they say in interviews. The other thing is, I mean, I love Drew, but I'm like, girl, like they haven't even had you on Watch What Happens Live. They haven't even sent you out for press. Why is that? Can you speak to that? And maybe she has in some of these interviews that she's done, which I do think that Drew needs to take matters into her own hands if the network is not doing it. And I do think that there needs to be some justice for Drew because she deserves the opportunity to have the same level of gravitas and exposure that I feel like any other housewife would have. You know what I'm saying? She's still on the show. She's making waves on the show at this point. I feel like this is we're ramping up with her story in terms of her integration within the group. So I'm very interested in seeing where Drew is going. But to be quite frank with you, again, like I said before, I don't think we would have even gotten what we've gotten from Drew without these interviews, with No Chaser TV and with Carlos King, because I felt like they were in-depth interviews where she really had an opportunity to express herself versus the sound bites that you typically get from Watch What Happens Live. I digress with all of my opinions, but here we are with what Britt has had to say, and you guys have had plenty of time to read this, so I don't feel bad for going off on my own tangent, right? Because that's what I do. If you're new here, by the way, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, and make sure you guys check out some of the other videos on the channel as well. We're gonna have some interviews coming up that I'm super excited about and doing some fun little things to fill up the summer, right? But anyway, Britt says Drew is the last person to be speaking on marriages when she has been going through a divorce for years. She needs to pray those court filings do not end up public instead of worrying about me. My goal has never been to destroy marriages for clout or a storyline. The show is about wives, and Drew barely fits the bill. And then she says something like, that was a disgruntled housewife fan. I'm not clear what this is talking about right here, but I'm assuming that someone has come forward with something or something like that. Never met him a day in my life, but he said he was an ex-friend of mine. He was in his feelings because of an interaction on IG and decided to look for clout, and you fell for it. He has been a housewife fan for years in every housewives comments, looking for a moment, so spare me. I've said it time and time again, I don't. I mean, what do you guys think? I'm actually quite satisfied with the current cast of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. I'm always looking for new dynamics. I've had to also, I think one of the things that what the Housewives can become a victim of its own success, right? What do I mean by that? I would relate this back to Marvel movies as an example, but I think there may not be enough of you guys that watch Marvel cinema to really get this reference. But I think what happens is that there is such a right now there is such an interest in the nostalgia of Housewives that it becomes very difficult for new iterations of Housewives, especially on a franchise like Atlanta, to kind of come in and really thrive, because the previous iterations were so iconic and they just seem so random. Like, I was watching season 3 of Atlanta just the other day, and I was just like, this was just chaos. It was just like they were just following these people. Nene was nervous to have Kim come back over to her house after Kim had claimed that Nene tried to strangle her. Like, what in the world, right? So it is interesting when we talk about the pow pows of it all. When we go back into the history of this particular show, and even when we look at Jersey, these types of things, maybe not pow pows, right? Pow pows have been brought up on Atlanta, but I just and tasers. I mean, but did y'all remember Kim claiming that Nene Leakes tried to strangle her? I went back and I was like, I had forgotten all about this. Obviously, there were no cameras around or anything like that, but you know, it, again, it just seems so wild and random. So like now when we see things and it doesn't live up to those previous glory days, we automatically get upset and we call it a flop. But we have to remember that it will never be what it used to be, because at that point in time, it was just so freaking new and it was just so freaking unbelievable to us. And it was so entertaining even back then that when we watch it now, it's still funny, right? So it's hard to compare that to what is happening right now. But I'm learning to lean into what it is that we have right now, because it's really all we got. That's just where we are. It's all we got. You will never be able to relive the glory days. The best thing to do is to enjoy what you have right now. Listen, before these shows just go off the air and we don't have nothing to watch, right? So that's where I'm at with it. But let me know what you guys think. And of course, there are so many options of things to watch on television right now anyway. So you can find your fix in whatever. And that's probably what a lot of people are doing. They're finding their fix wherever they can. And sometimes it's just not Housewives anymore. And, we just got to have that realistic expectation because there are so many options out there. Anyway, I did not mean for today's Ponderosa to be quite so philosophical, but I just thought to myself, I did wake up with another headache yet again. But sitting down and talking to y'all, it seemed to lighten up my headache. That's odd. So interesting. Healing. Okay. Anyway, if you guys haven't subscribed, like I said before, make sure you guys do so. Also, make sure you guys check out the sources. I always put the source links in the description of each video so that you guys can go check out the stories for yourself so you can see it, so you can comment, so you can like, so you can share, so you can post, so you can do all the things. So make sure you guys are doing that. Make sure you guys are following me on Instagram and make sure you follow me on Facebook. Everything is at DJRichieSkye. I will be posting a lot more on Facebook as well. I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm gonna give you a little tip, right? So, for those of you guys who are looking to monetize your content, if you are looking to really monetize on Facebook, they don't do it the same way that they used to do it anymore. Their content monetization strategy is a bit different right now. It is mainly based on posts and that get shared, right? So, if you are somebody that has the time to post on Facebook, like I'm saying, like I think it takes a minute to get that engine revved up to get really people to start following you and sharing your post. Start posting on Facebook. It is a good way to monetize your content, and a lot of people are doing it right now. If you look on Facebook, you'll see. I think you'll see what I'm talking about. So that's just a little tip for you guys out there who are looking to get into the content creation space. Thought I would drop that dime on y'all. And with that being said, happy Saturday, happy Memorial Day weekend. Y'all be safe out there. I know I will, and I will catch you guys in the next video.